That I know of.
So no one's come up to you and said, "Daddy."
Not yet.
Well, let me be the first at Macstock.
You know, the trip is now even more exciting for me.
Wow, that was kind of an evil laugh. I apologize.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Ben, how's the new gig treating you?
It's putting lots of green in my wallet.
That's a beautiful thing.
I mean, granted, these last two, it's number one, it's nice being paid weekly. But these first two paychecks have been going quickly because there's a lot of stuff that was on a list.
Catching up.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it always goes, though?
Yeah.
Well, I understand it with like audio gear.
Yeah.
Right. That's what Ben was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Audio
I'm totally on
gear
board.
and shoes and sandals and the new phone and all these accessories for the new phone, like tons of USB cables, 30-watt chargers, batteries.
You people that can just walk into shoe stores and buy shoes just make me sick.
Ironically, I usually am not.
Oh, what size you wear?
9.5 extra wide.
Oh, 9.5.
Guy.
That's small.
Don't be hyperbolic. You can walk into any shoe store you want and buy shoes right now.
I just
They're not
can't wear
gonna
them.
fit,
Yeah.
but you can buy them.
Who's that?
Oh, 16 wide.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
My dad
What-
and my
I-
brother wear 14, and those are big shoes.
They are. Now take it up two notches.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys have ever been in stores and seen those tags on clothes to keep people from shoplifting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I used to. Go ahead.
I bought both sandals and shoes in the last 10 days.
Uh-huh.
I've seen them.
Okay. Well, I used to work for the company that makes those systems, Sensormatic. And I installed those systems throughout Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties before I got an offer from the guy that owned the franchise in Ohio to move to Ohio, which is how I ended up there for seeing snow for the first time. And so this was in the early 80s, so I was in and out of shopping malls like all the time. And I'd always go into shoe stores and I'd always ask, what's the biggest size you carry? And inevitably they'd say, well, we got some 13s. And I would just say, okay. And I would then hear the question that I knew was coming. Well, sir, what size do you wear? And then I'd have to say 16s. And the gales of laughter were like daggers in my heart.
Yeah, we're not. I don't have
Yeah.
those.
See, I'm the right now I'm the opposite. People with single digit shoe sizes are becoming rarer, especially those of us 6 feet or over.
That is unusual.
Yeah, they had to go and find that particular shoe size because the smallest they had out was a 10.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm closer to a 9.0 extra wide.
But there's you guys have heard of Vans, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
They actually carry some 17s.
Yeah.
I was stunned when I found that out. So I've got a pair of Spicolis and I've got
Perfect for
some
Macstock.
I know, I've got some custom ones because you can go on their website and order it and like customize all the colors and stuff and they'll make it for you. I don't know, there's some little guy in Vietnam going, "No, don't take that color. That one's really hard." But it takes about a couple of weeks and they'll ship it to you.
You have to be of a certain age to appreciate the Vans model Spicoli.
Yeah. Dude, my dad has an awesome, no, my dad's a TV repairman and has an awesome set of tools. He can fix this.
Dude, that's my skull.
Why doesn't anybody knock?
Oh,
You ready?
you said it was my birthday.
On that note, let's go.
What a great movie.
A true classic.
It is. First time I ever seen Judge Reinhold in anything.
You'll see.
Yeah, I think same for me.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing him again in
Oh,
July
Beverly
3rd.
Hill Cops, the retirement saga.
Yeah.
on
Ackwell?
Netflix. Ackwell.
Axel?
All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 308 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week is Guy Searle. How you doing, Guy?
Hey, how's it going? Dave, it is so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Always welcome. Always enjoy having you on the show, as well as Ben Rathick. How you doing, Ben?
I am fantastic. A little bit tired from work,
Yeah.
but I like that feeling.
Yes, you do. You do. And then the last but certainly not least, Jeff Cameron is here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing really great, and I'm happy to see all of you.
Yes, yes. And yes, we have some things to talk about, including no beta. Ben bought a new iPhone,
Ooh.
and we'll be getting a little update on that shortly. And I thought we'd talk a little more about the Apple Pencil. There was some more details we hadn't touched upon a couple weeks ago, as well as some other things here. But like I said, let's go into the topics. As I said, there is no beta. And, WWDC is only 2 weeks away from as we record this. So kind of makes sense. They're probably holding back because we probably going to be hearing something about iOS 18 at some point. 17.5.1 is the most current version. Make sure you've updated because they're no longer signing 17.5, but so you want to make sure you got everything up to date because there were a lot of pretty serious security updates when it comes to 17.5.1. So please go do that. So let's move right to the story I wanted to talk about this week. And you finally got a new iPhone. You bought the iPhone, which one?
15 Pro Max.
And you've joined our exclusive club here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've got one of those.
No. So tell us, you were pretty active on social media about your unhappiness with Apple and the unfortunate process you had to go through, but at least it's working. But
Yes.
tell us what happened.
Okay. Since my device is mission critical, I do not have a work issued cell phone. I use it for work stuff. I liked to get my phone set up. And then when everything is all signed in, ready to go, then I switch over my SIM. Well, they didn't give me that option this time. They, with literally no option to say no, just switched over my SIM card at the beginning of the installation process.
Yeah.
So I was sitting here with no active phone for almost an hour while this thing did the installation process. I was finally able to, through Apple's SIM switch little mechanism, which is really nice, by the way. Unlike this, I was able to get everything switched back till I was able to get everything mission ready. But people depend on these devices for work. I can understand giving the option of setting it, activating the SIM during initial setup. For a lot of people, that will make it a much easier process. But for a lot of people, especially those who use their phone for business, basically just railroading the thing through was unfortunate, to say the least. And I wasn't happy.
Rightfully so. Did you talking about this Apple's eSIM switch tool? Is there? I wasn't familiar with that. Why don't you share that with
Yeah,
us?
I honestly I found out about it by talking to T-Mobile about getting it
Huh.
switched back. It's like, oh yeah, you can just go in there, switch it back to the other device. You don't even
You
need
did it from
us.
within the settings of the
Yeah,
iPhone.
within
Oh
the
yeah,
SIM
yeah.
card settings.
Okay. I thought you were talking about some sort of utility. No, yeah, I've done that many times. Good
Yeah,
thing is I have just two extra lines at my disposal because I don't pay for them
yeah,
because T-Mobile gives me those, so I can switch numbers as at will, or if in fact add a second number to my, which I've done to my 15 Pro Max when I wanted
yeah,
a second line on my phone. So, but yeah, you could do that. But again, you're right because you went through and you fired up. You're excited. You want to get the 15 Pro Max going, and you know it's going to
yeah,
take a little time because you got updated. But then you had no phone for an hour, being able, so it kind of lets you dead in the water for an hour at a time. That's understandable.
yeah.
Ben, um, I wonder, and by the way, just to be clear, it sucks that Apple didn't give you the
Yeah.
option. But I wonder, just from like an academic standpoint, would your Apple Watch on Wi-Fi continued to have accepted calls while the process was going? No, it just like
No.
shut
Right.
everything down.
Because
Yep.
it's still linked to the old phone.
Yeah, and that didn't get switched over until this morning.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it honestly, it's not it must be something fairly new because through all the iPhones I've had, I have never seen this, not once.
Right, because
And I don't know, yeah, and I don't know if it's just something that's when you get it shipped directly from the Apple store, because I've always bought from the carriers.
right.
Mhm. Which is the first iPhone model that didn't have a physical SIM?
It was the 10, wasn't it?
No, because
No, I think it's the
I have a
14.
12 Pro,
The US
and it had a
version of the
SIM slot.
14.
US version of the 14.
Okay.
Well, specifically 14 Pro.
Okay. I'm wondering if Apple's looking at this as the first cycle where it's like primarily just eSIMs.
Yeah.
And like you were hinting at, they've done something different this time around.
Yeah. Good. And I mean, like I said, if you are, either getting set up at the store or a not tech savvy user, I can see this as a good thing.
Sure. Yeah, and for most muggles,
Yeah.
this wouldn't matter.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that there is no opt out is the issue. Not that,
So
not that
is
there's
it a thing where the
process like
phone
this.
has to be activated before it can be linked to your iCloud account so that you can get software updates and all of that? I'm trying to find logic here.
It
Yeah,
should have all
because
been able
so
to be
am I.
done through Wi-Fi for the setup process.
And it should have.
Yeah, but you
Is
need to have the SIM, in this case eSIM, for phone activation,
Mm.
yeah,
which would
this
be
is true.
separate from anything you're doing on Wi-Fi. I'm just trying to find logic here.
Yeah.
And I'm having
It's at
a
the Apple
really
Store.
hard time.
That part is the logic.
It, yeah, but it's clearly a problem.
I mean, I upgrade every year, so I see it. And this is something new for you, Ben, because you've never had an eSIM before. At least you've always had physical SIM on your phones. The 12, of course,
Yeah, I
had
never
physical
have
SIM.
either.
Yeah, I mean
Towards you, so
the last switch was from a 10 to a 12 Pro Max.
and that was still a physical SIM. So,
Yeah, the 12
And
Pro
I-
Max was the first one, I think, with the eSIM.
right, the 12 Pro Max started with you could have switched to eSIM if you wanted
Yeah.
to, but yeah, most people didn't bother but I did, of course, because you want to try it.
Yeah.
But so I was on eSIM starting with the 12, and then till now. So, but yeah, you're right. Now the 14 and higher no longer has a physical sim at all. So
Yeah.
that's you don't have much of a choice. But no, it's understandable you had an issue with not having a phone for an hour because who knows, some emergencies, you got to be reachable. You got
Mhm.
Yeah,
you know
if you're on call,
Yeah.
if
yeah
it's your business and this is the primary contact point for your business,
Yeah. I mean, at least put a disclaimer. Hey, this could take a while. If your device is mission critical, wait.
they
Hmm.
could even make it even easier when they give you that warning, you should wait, where it says we can schedule this to automatically start at a specific time. What time do you want it to happen? And then you set it
I
for like 11 o'clock at night because you never get critical calls after that.
I like that.
yeah
Yeah,
Hire us, Apple.
right.
I don't know if I'd want to work for Apple.
I want to work for them long enough to fix a bunch of things.
They make you wear
Yes.
pants.
I'm out.
And show up to the office.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't mind going. I don't mind going to the office, quite frankly. Even now, it's. I'm actually able to get a lot more work done in the office than I am at home.
yeah, that's true because you get distracted.
Yeah, yeah, less distractions. Ooh, kitties. It just doesn't work.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've
so
never been distracted by cats. You
got
too?
got got those cats back there. But yeah, well, I'm glad you got that 15 Pro Max. What's your and then besides that experience, what's your thoughts so far since you haven't had one? What are you liking about
Um,
it?
well, let me put it this way. I've been using it most of the day. It's never dipped below 85%.
Yep.
I didn't know if I would like the always on screen. And I had to do a little bit of tweaking of the settings, like turning the wallpaper off.
Sure.
But I love it that way. It's uh the funny thing is my 12 Pro Max might have been the fastest computer I've owned. That is not my MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And this thing blows it out of the water.
Oh,
Everything
for
just
sure.
so snappy. Um, I forget at this moment what Apple calls 120 hertz variable, but I like
Promotion.
it. Yeah, promotion. It's yeah, about the same color. I like it.
What storage did you get?
256.
Yeah, it's plenty.
Yeah, I will say this. Um, if they wouldn't have changed the offload settings, I probably would have needed at least a terabyte. But the way it's set up, I have. Well, let me check right now. But it'll be just in another second here, guys. I have 160 gigabytes available on this phone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Nice.
I'm not exactly a typical user. I would put myself firmly in the power user category. It's 256 is enough.
Yeah, for most, it's more than sufficient. So, well, welcome to the iPhone 15 world, and now you're gonna enjoy a good experience with an iPhone and being faster.
Oh yes, especially once all the accessories I have arriving tomorrow show up.
What did you get?
Oh,
What
sorry,
did you,
did you
what's
say?
what accessories did you get?
Well, first was my ESR case with the ridiculously small secure MagSafe magnets.
Oh, good.
Um, my current Moft wallet is about at the end of its life. Literally, it's held together by fabric.
Hmm.
So
But
I
it's
have,
still there.
yeah, I have a new ESR wallet coming that has an integrated AirTag, or should I say integrated Find My.
Nice.
Multi angle stand. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Um,
Nice.
got a bunch of chargers.
Well, and you're telling us all about these accessories. Let's make sure we put this in the show notes so people can see what you bought.
Yes. Oh
That
yes,
would be
I'll get them.
that'd be
And
cool. Everybody like that.
and I have a 16,000 milliamp portable battery. Just to
Nice. Ben, I just checked my iPhone 12 Pro
uh-huh.
because you're saying, hey, I can get by with 256 gig, no problem. And I was thinking, how much am I getting by with? And I was thinking, I have 512, but no, 256, just like you. So I have a feeling when I get my next iPhone, considering how well 256s work for me, maybe I don't need to get more storage than that.
Oh,
Blasphemy.
Oh.
I know. Well, I'm a born
yeah.
blasphemer. Great fun at parties.
Yep, that's gonna be the name of Jeff's album.
Born
Blasphemer, or the name of the
Born
band,
Blasphemer.
the Blasphemers.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. I thought this topic was interesting. This was a post in Lifehacker about email is now the best social network. And Facebook, X, and Instagram are all full of viral crap. Email lets me actually talk to my friends. And he proceeds to go on and talks about a lot of the way life on the internet is and how social media can be a challenge. Messaging is a fragmented mess. Email newsletters, are they the new blogs? I don't know about that, but I would I love to hear Jeff's comments on some of these items about is that really is this really a true statement? We thought email was pretty much a thing of the past, but is it making a comeback? What do you think, Jeff?
Well, okay. I don't think email really went away,
No, it
but
never went
social
away.
media had a lot of people thinking, why do I need email? Because I have this as a way to communicate and get information. The problem is that social media, by its nature, is ephemeral. Even a social network that's been around for years and years, at some point it can disappear. You don't have control over that data, who's going to see it, and if you look at the way that algorithms are set for showing content on most social media networks, you likely aren't going to be seeing the content you want, and the people that you want to see your content aren't going to. So the way that you address that is the way we always have, and you control who is part of your communication cloud. And email and blogs are the way to do that, where you
Yeah.
actually have control over that. Buy your own domain name and host your own website,
Yep.
and use an email service that lets you use your domain name as part of your email address. Don't do your own email hosting. That
No.
only leads to wailing and gnashing of teeth. Um,
Pain.
but it doesn't surprise me that we periodically see articles like this one from Lifehacker, where someone who may not have been as heavy an email user as some of us is now starting to see the value in that for themselves. So yeah, I think overall email, I wouldn't call it the best social network, but I'd say it's a much more reliable and manageable communication medium for the people that you want to get your message out to.
Yeah. And I agree with the messaging. Messaging is fragmented. Frankly, it's tough to keep up. I mean, you get if you end up with 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes I've been on 15, 20 different people's on a string, You can't keep up. Messages are going back and
No,
forth, and,
you
and
can't.
then how do you go back to look at all this stuff? Where email is, see, everybody got the email, you read it, and then you reply to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to limit it, and
Yeah,
you have to force people to limit it with you. And that's the hard part right there, because everybody has their own personal preferences when it comes to messaging and social networks, and they just kind of look at you. You're not on Mastodon. You're not on this. You're not on that. It's like,
right.
no, because there's just too many of them to keep up with. And let's face it, social networks for the most part are pretty much great big steaming piles of crap that will,
Yeah.
suck up all of your information. And for the most part, the UI experience is terrible. And they all expect you to look at their UI for their social network and just kind of like, oh, why hasn't everyone done this forever? Well,
Yeah.
because other people have different ideas on UI. So when you have to make those kinds of changes, switching between Instagram and Threads and X and Mastodon and Counter Social, and I mean the list just goes on and on and on. And after a while, it just kind of makes you numb, and you just kind of say, okay, that's enough. I'm going to be on this network, and I'm going to be on that network. And if you want to send me a message, or if you want to send me some content that you think I find interesting, that's where you'll find me. And if you can't be bothered, well, then I guess your stuff just wasn't going to be that interesting to me anyway. And with messaging itself, it's a little bit easier because I mean, most of the messaging I currently get is either from doctors telling me about, when the hell my next appointments are, or it's people that are already in my contacts list. And, I kind of limit that on purpose because there's just too many scammers out there and junk. You'll sit there
Mm-hmm.
and say, oh, yeah, I remember that person from high school. And it turns out that that person from high school has 6 different accounts on Facebook. And it's like, well, which one are you? Oh, you're the one not trying to sell me Bitcoin. Okay, I get it now. So, I mean, it's a mess, and there's no real solution other than for you to self-edit and say, I'm only going to be on these particular platforms. And I'm sorry if you don't like those platforms and don't want to use them, that's where I'll be.
Yeah. What about you, Ben? What do you think on this? This is a good, interesting topic.
I mean, honestly, I mean, email is kind of something I think of as work. Um, you know, I grew up with during the inception of email. Maybe it's retro now through all these lists, but I don't see it as any kind of social network or social interaction. Uh, beyond either information or projects. And to be perfectly honest, even in a work setting, it's been eclipsed by Teams.
Yeah. I live in Teams every day at work, so I know. It's yeah, you are right. But the thing is with
Get off
Teams,
my lawn.
yeah, exactly. Uh, the thing with Teams though is, of the years and years I've worked in the corporate world, it I think it's been a bit more improved experience because back the old days it was always just emails going back and forth, and you didn't
Mhm.
have instant messaging. And then you started
Yeah.
off with then when you finally got it, you started off with Skype for Business, which was a nightmare by
Oh, good
itself. And
times.
if we remember going back on the Mac days, what was it called? Links. Remember that?
Oh,
Oh God.
wow.
Yeah, going back way back when, and remembering supporting that, and that was how much of a nightmare that was.
Oh
And
yeah.
people,
Yeah. Links that got EOL for Skype, which got EOL for Teams.
yeah,
Dave, the thing with Teams, and for me, it also applies with Slack. To
yeah,
me, these are useful tools for the instant transient communications that you have like in a business setting. But if you need to have a long-term trail of project communication, man, I'd rather have that in email.
Yeah.
It's easier to manage. It's easier to
Search.
search.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Teams has improved upon the
Mhm.
search functionality of it. You could search within a one-to-one chat, as well as if you have a Teams group set up. That's a great way to collaborate as well. But that's a whole other different topic of what this was. But overall, I think email. Yeah, I subscribe. I think many of us subscribe to a lot of newsletters. A lot of things about the
Mhm.
news and and technology, whatever you want, whatever interests you. And it's interesting to see
Mhm.
newsletters come through, and blogs for that matter. But how do you keep up on them? You get so many of them. If you subscribe to them, I mean, it's just as hard as if you were, you know, doing like a text or using social media for that matter. Because I think all of us here on the show have our ways of being able to find news. We use news
Mhm.
aggregators and find information that way. There's just so many multitude of ways to get the information you're
Yeah.
interested in. So
Yeah.
email
Yeah.
still there.
How do we keep up? Flat out, I don't.
Yeah, there's that too. So, uh, great topic, and I'd love to hear if anybody has their experience on what they think if email is could be still best than their social network. Send me an email feedback at intouchwithios.com. How I fit that in there like that, right?
Smooth.
Nicely done.
So send me an email. Let's talk about it.
I haven't seen someone write a segue like that since Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, that's how. Oh boy. Oh, let's move on here. There's been a lot of talk about News Plus and and Apple News Plus and Apple News. I happen to be going to be talking about this at Max Talk later this year as my topic for Apple services. But I found this article to be interesting, and I thought it'd be a good topic to hit on real quick here. Is the News Plus subscriptions have been growing 4 times faster than major publishers. This is a report that's been said here. It's an, it's it was after a report of what Apple users have been doing with their old iPads. The analyst from CIRP has released a study about how Apple News Plus subscriptions have been growing compared to major publishers like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and others. And they found that major publishers have been becoming more positive on News Plus as of late, saying it's begun to represent a substantial stream of direct revenue and is potentially a saving grace as traffic has been slowing. So of course Apple doesn't break down any of the numbers, but boy, just looking at these numbers here, it looks like News Plus has been increasing lately. I've been paying a little more attention to it as of late, and I kind of use it as a news aggregator too. I mean, I have my own. I use News Explorer as my favorite RSS feed app that I have all kinds of mostly obviously that's how I get a lot of the news here for this week for this show for keeping all up on all the stories. But News Plus is another aggregator of sort. But the bonus is you get access to, if you have a subscription to News Plus, you have access to a lot of these great magazines, including, I've always said for us Apple enthusiasts, there's so many great Apple centric magazines like, Mac Format and Mac Life and a lot of others that are still being published, like albeit now just e-magazines.
Digitally.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're all digital. Yeah. So, but I think it's got some value. And at first, people were starting to say, it's not nothing I like it. But you obviously can use Apple News as on itself without having to pay for it. But you're obviously not going to get all the content we're talking about. Ben, I'm going to start with you. What do you think on this as far as where News Plus is going? Did you use News Plus? Is that a big question too?
I don't as much as I should. My parents, basically, that's their newspaper now.
Nice.
But honestly, the service is so good, it makes me want to buy an iPad to use it more.
Yeah.
It's expertly curated. It has so much free content from top end publications like The Athletic,
Mhm.
They've included your favorite newspaper games like word search. Honestly, I'm hoping this continues to this trend continues. Local media gets into News Plus,
Yeah,
and someday it's just going to be the news.
yeah, maybe. How about you, Guy? You use News Plus? Is this something that
Yeah, I
interests you?
do. I don't really subscribe to anything,
I mean, Apple
but
News, not News Plus.
no, I know what you meant. The fact when we were talking about this on Chuck's show,
Mhm.
the number of newspapers that you can actually go out and buy now are like there's almost nothing left.
Right.
So the great thing about Apple News and News Plus is it's all right there, and the fact that all of these publications resisted using it for as long as they did speaks volumes as to why their industry was dying.
Mhm.
They just weren't willing to accept the fact that most people weren't willing to go out and buy dead tree versions of their magazines and newspapers. They wanted something that they could easily switch between different sources at the same time, and just with a flip of a finger, they're looking at the New York Times, or they're looking at the Miami Herald, or what, whatever magazine or newspaper that they wanted. It was right there for the asking, and they've taken the concept of paid subscriptions and kind of turned it around where, and the only thing that kind of scares me about this is seems like so similar. It's almost deja vu that from when we were talking about apps not that long ago, when the App Store first opened up for iOS and iPad OS, and
Mhm.
all of the people that were making apps were like, "Oh, this is great," and all we have to do is just give 30% over to Apple, and now they're all up in arms because they have to give 30% over to Apple. So I don't know what the
Mhm.
percentage is for all of these publications that they're passing back to Apple, but I would anticipate them as well starting to bulk at whatever it is that Apple charges and start talking about alternative news aggregators, but
Yeah.
that they still want to use Apple's payment system that's safe and secure, which is what the app publishers did as well.
Right.
And they, it's like, don't, look at history and don't kill the goose that laid the golden egg.
Yep. All right, Jeff, you got thoughts?
I always have thoughts. They may not be
Mhm.
valid, but I have thoughts. Um,
It might be.
so I'm not using the news app, but
Okay.
that's only because by the time news rolled around, I had already spent a lot of time setting up all of my curated topic groups in Flipboard. So um, I haven't had a pain point in Flipboard that's high enough that it would
Yeah.
cause me to switch over to news. But news is a perfectly fine app. Um, I have a feeling part of the growth that publishers are seeing is because Apple does their bundles. So
Right.
you want to get your iCloud storage plus a couple other things. News is part of that, or News Plus is part of that, and that's a great way to draw people in and lock them in as users.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if that's uh, a contributing factor in these numbers. I hope that this does help publishers because there's so many great publications out there that otherwise will just be simply choked off because the print, like physical dead tree print world, that's a really hard place to be. And
Yep.
I mean, it's always been a difficult place, but now even more so.
So yeah, it's. I said I'm going to be talking about this at a Max Talk. We'll mention the top Max Talk a little later here, but uh, before we move on, I want to make sure I say hi to everybody in the chat at youtube.com/in touch with iOS. Web Bixby, thanks for being in the chat. There's a couple others in the chat
Hey,
listening to
Webb.
us live. Good to see you,
Yo,
Web. Glad you're here. Yeah, it's good times in the chat. So come join us when we're here on when we're doing this live here. So let's go ahead and move on to another topic, and I want to talk about the Apple Pencil a little bit. We talked a little bit about it when the Apple Pencil Pro did come out, and I find it interesting. Apple, I have a link here in the show notes of Apple put together a nice little section here on their website about the Apple Pencil and all the different versions, which is, I'm kind of feeling like Apple's still all over the place. So why do we have all these different pencils? you guys feel that way? Because I know we have older.
there's a
We
lot
still have
of them.
old. We still have older generation iPads out there, and that's fair enough that Apple's still selling the first gen. But you have now 4 different models now that they've just added the Apple Pencil Pro. So it seems like if you go across this grid here, starting with the first generation Apple Pencil, which we absolutely, I know we all love the fact of having to take the cap off and put the lightning connector to the bottom of a lightning connector iPad to charge it. Although people have come up with all these crazy
The
ways to get a
worst
cord.
thing is being in a coffee shop and you have to recharge this Apple Pencil,
Yeah,
and
it's
you
sticking
look
out.
like a total doink with this
Doink.
sticking out the side of your iPad.
Yeah. So it's it's interesting to see some of the stuff that it has. I mean, the Apple Pencil, the first gen, still has a lot of the things that you would come to expect with the Pencil, including the pixel perfect precision and the low latency, the tilt sensitivity, and the pressure sensitivity. But they've added a number of updates. When the Apple Pencil 2 came out, they went with a magnetic attaching to the iPad so you could charge it, and then wireless charging and pairing, which made it easier. Because with the first gen Apple Pencil, you had to plug it in to get it to start connecting for the first time into the bottom of that iPad port. And you go through and check some of the other features in here, the double tap and the barrel roll and the squeeze, which were all added with the Apple Pencil Pro. But I still perplexed why Apple thinks they want to sell this Apple Pencil with USB-C. And as if you go back and number of episodes, I bought and returned that horrible Apple Pencil because first off, it has no pressure sensitivity at all, which I think is crazy. You pull the cap up and you have to stick. It's just like sticking it in the bottom of the iPad. You stick a USB-C cable into it to charge it. And I understand, you want to get someone to be in to get a pencil that's a little less price. It's $79, but I don't understand why Apple would want to have something like this in their line. But then they keep the Apple Pencil second generation in place only because you have some of the older iPads that are not supported by the Pro. But so 4 pencils, and Jeff, you being the pencil aficionado that you are, what are your thoughts on where Apple is going with these models?
Apple's in a difficult place right now because this is a problem of their own making, because we have so many iPad models across
Right.
multiple generations. So they are stuck having to have this complicated lineup of Apple Pencils. As soon as they can stop selling the first gen pencil, that's going to help a lot.
Yeah.
And the Apple Pencil USB-C, I don't think, this is my opinion, I don't think that you should be able to buy that through the regular Apple store. That should be through the education store. I really think that's the market Apple had in mind when they created this pencil.
Right.
And when it first came out, I thought, yeah, education, or when you have that C-suite person who has an iPad and they want an Apple Pencil so they can write, this is a great option. You're not going to buy it for them because they're going to complain that they have to plug it in. They can't just stick it on their iPad to charge. So they're getting the Apple Pencil 2 or Apple Pencil Pro, depending what iPad they get.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is complicated. and very annoying, and to me feels a lot like um, when we had the Performance Centris Quadra,
Quadra. Yeah.
and you
The
had to
Quadra.
figure out what each of these
Mm.
computers was and what it did.
Oh, and the server line.
Oh, and then the
Yeah.
server
X
line, and
Xserve.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I do like that there's a thing on the Apple Pencil page where you can find out what Apple Pencils work with your iPad. To me, that's just as critical as knowing what features it has. What I don't like is that you have to scroll way down on the page before you get to that part.
Well, how else
That's
are they going to get you to make a mistake and buy the wrong one first?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, I know Apple doesn't want you to buy the wrong pencil and then you have to return it and get another one because that's a bad user experience. So why don't they make it easier to know right away which Apple Pencil you need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing on the USB-C one, I know who this is for. This is for the people that are going on Amazon and paying $50 to get a third-party pencil alternative. Well, guess what? Those third-party ones have magnetic charging.
Right.
Yeah,
They do.
they do.
Well, when it comes to, I mean, I have actually never gone out and bought one. I haven't seen the point of them. But I think that when they came out with the
Right
Pencil
there,
Pro,
there's the points.
that they missed a bet. They missed a bet. They should have dropped manufacturing of the second gen and the USB-C and the first gen, and there should have been an Apple Pencil Pro and an Apple Pencil that had all of the features that the other ones had, minus the couple of features that the Pro had to make it stand out from the regular Apple Pencil, and just simplifies. And and this we talked about this on the My Mac podcast before the iPad event. There's too many iPads. There's too many pencils. There's so many different product lines, and the distinction between a lot of them just doesn't make any sense. And on occasion, there's not enough of a distinction to move from one to the next. I mean, I have an M1 Mac Mini. The M2 Mac Mini came out and they talked about all of the great features and how much better it was than the M2. And at the end of the day, when I looked at the specs, it was like, it's okay. It's a little bit faster than the M1 that I have that I'm not even half using the capacity of right now. So what's the point in me going out and getting another one? I'm still on the M1 iPad, and I don't see any point in getting one of the new ones. It's still it's a great computer pad for what I use it for. And I think Apple needs to expand and contract at the same time. They need to get rid of a lot of these product lines and simplify the existing lines, and at the same time come out with something new. You had the Studio, which was a great addition to the Mac line, but they've just kind of let it languish. The Pro, the Mac Pro was a great addition to the Mac line, and they've just kind of let it languish.
Yeah.
And they concentrate on the parts of the company that I don't think really are as important as some of the other parts. But of course, I don't run Apple, and Tim Cook has taken the company from, the wailing when Steve Jobs passed away to incredible heights that they're at right now. So, I mean, what the hell do I know? But I look at these product announcements that they come out with, and they keep getting shorter and shorter. I think because they can't come up with new adjectives to impress us with these new devices, because there's not really that much of a difference.
Right.
Yeah, you've been hitting on several points that I think are really important that come
Not
together.
on purpose.
Well, I mean, well, good job anyhow. Take the win.
Okay. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, thumbs up. And when you take all those pieces and put them together, the problem is that Apple has engineered themselves into this situation.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't get rid of these Apple Pencils because, or, various models, because they have this line of iPads that each one requires a different model. And now with the Apple Pencil second gen versus Apple Pencil Pro, it would have been great if it would have just been, and now this is the Apple Pencil that we sell
For the rest of us.
for the rest of us, but they
Yeah.
can't because they had to move where the charging point is on Apple Pencil Pro to accommodate where the camera is on the new models.
Yeah.
And so as long as they keep iPads with the portrait mode, front facing camera, we have at least two Apple Pencils that look the same, and for most people will perform the same.
I mean, I think the main problem here is Apple can't figure out what the hell the iPad actually is, and the pencil is just catching a ride.
Uh, yeah, Apple needs to define the focus.
Find their niche. Yeah.
And
Push it.
and I think this is a big part of the reason why we end up with discussions on shows on a regular basis about what operating system should be on the iPad. Should we be able to run Mac apps on the iPad? Why can't we do touch on the Mac? And it's
Right.
because Apple hasn't been able to figure out what the true focus of the iPad is. And until then, we will all want these different things
Yeah.
that we express as I want Mac features on an iPad or iPad features on a Mac.
Right.
And but if they can nail it down and really figure out what the focus of this should be, I think those I wants and I wishes for the most part will go away.
So all right. So yep, there's too many. There's too many Apple Pencils, and let's hope that Apple does rethink.
Did that conversation go where you expected, even
It did.
remotely?
It did. It was good. That's what I wanted to talk about, just because there's just too many Apple Pencils. But what I do want to talk about is, can you believe I'm going to talk about Lego?
Ooh.
There
This is why I love you, Dave.
This is a story I found in the news. We're going to move into the news segment of the show here. Ever dream of a Lego Apple store? This fan built one and hopes to see it go mass market. It seems like there's a Lego set for everything these days, as Jeff well knows. As the popularity of Lego continues to cross generational divides, there are Lego sets for all kinds of popular movies, video games, iconic locations. But if you are looking for an Apple-themed Lego set, you're out of luck. So the Apple Store Lego was created and submitted to Lego as part of the company's Ideas initiative. In essence, leverages the creativity of the community and incentivizing original design submissions. So I thought this was kind of a cool little Apple store that they put together. And I have to know what you think about this, Jeff.
I love the design. I think
Yeah.
that they really came up with something that that exemplifies what the Apple experience is in Lego form. So nicely done. The kit will never be made.
Yeah, because of
And-
Apple.
Yeah. So, well, there's several factors that go into this, and the first one is, can Lego get licensing from Apple to make this kit? And I'm guessing that Apple would say no, absolutely
No.
not. But with the Ideas program, what you do is you submit your designs, people vote on them. They have to get a certain number of votes within a specific window of time to be considered to go on as a potential kit. Then and just discounting the licensing part, there's all these other factors that go in, like how buildable, how marketable the kit is, what what price points do they need to hit? Is that going to be a price point that consumers will go for? There's just all these things that go into it. And then you have the licensing on top of it. So sadly, this is not going to be a kit that Lego makes, but that doesn't mean you can't make it, because there's also this whole other side program where kits that don't get selected can then shift over to where the people who designed them can submit the build instructions. So you
Yep.
can actually get the whole parts list and build the kit yourself just by going out and buying all the pieces, or if you have enough, make it from what you have. So while this will never be an official Lego kit, sadly, it's still a kit where we can get the instructions. But with the photos that we have here, um, there's enough that most people could figure out how to use this as inspiration to design their own Apple Store. And there are third-party companies that make Lego bricks that have that already have printed on them the things that you would want, like iPhone screens and stuff.
Sure.
Or there are places where you can just buy stickers and put them on, and I'm sure this comes as a surprise. You're not picking up on this at all. I am actually excited about this kit.
I figured you were. And I also put a link in the show notes to the actual Lego Ideas site. You actually can click and support. Right now it's got almost 3,650 supporters, and it keeps getting more days added because they continue to get so many supporters. There's 598 days left. So this could be up on the Ideas site for a while.
Mhm.
It is really cool, I must admit.
I do have to
again,
say,
Mhm.
it is very faithful to the Chicago Riverwalk Apple Store.
It is.
It is. I agree with that.
I would buy the excrement out of this.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a show title for you.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a really cool build technique. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a really cool build technique they did in this one that a lot of people won't notice because they're just looking at the overall kit. I look at all the little details because, well, I have no life. Look at the paver tiles outside the store. And actually it goes inside the store too, where they did this great thing with triangle tiles, where they put them together to make a 2x2 square tile. But since it's a triangles, they can use different colors and make patterns with it. Really nice technique. I love when you see clever design elements like that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that
So-
roof looks exactly like an iPad. So you
Yeah.
could actually turn your iPad and just have it facing, for whatever reason, down into the store so that the Apple logo is up on top. And again, I hope that if this is not selected to be built, that they'll release the design plans for this, along with the Legos that you'll need to make it, because this is just so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you will
Yeah,
be
it
able to
is.
get that at some point. Those instructions and the
Yeah,
brick
just
list
build
will
it
be
on your
there.
own without being an
Yeah.
official.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
see a theme for the next Lego movie.
Yeah, then that'll be even more of a licensing fee.
Every song is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
So speaking of the Apple logo, this next story is was been a little bit of a chatter this week. Apple says future iPads could feature landscape Apple logo on the iPad. The French website had interviewed 3 senior Apple employees about the new iPad Pro models that were launched, and we talked about. And the discussion did not reveal many new details, but it did mention a potential change in future iPads. While the Apple logo on the back of iPads is positioned so it appears upright in vertical orientation, the devices are often used in landscape orientation with a keyboard attached, which results in the Apple logo showing to be on its side. Apple even moved the front camera to the from the long right side of the edge to the center on the landscape mode for the Pro and the Air models. So it appears on the top center when the devices are in that landscape orientation. So I can't believe having this much chatter about where Apple's logo is going to be on the back of an iPad, but I guess I can understand the aesthetics
Yeah.
the iPad is going to sit in landscape mode now because of that camera. What do you think, guy?
Well, the problem is the logo on its side like that looks like the apple is getting ready to vomit. It's just like,
That's right. How about you, Jeff?
I think that that on the iPad proper, Apple will likely leave the logo oriented as it is now, because when you put it in one of Apple's cases for using in landscape mode, that apple is covered. So you can have another apple on the case where it's oriented correctly.
Yep.
For landscape mode. And then Apple gets the best of both worlds. If you're holding an iPad for just as a tablet in your hand, it's more likely you're holding it in portrait mode. But when you're using it like at a desk with a keyboard, you're more likely using it in landscape mode. So why not have both as an option?
Yeah, why not? You got the last word on this, Ben.
Personally, I think they should just make it constantly changing between portrait and landscape confusingly to just truly represent the iPad.
Ben wins.
Right. You win. Ding, ding, ding. That's a winner. Next story. T-Mobile has announced that they're going to be buying U.S. Cellular. Acquisition promises improved connectivity in rural areas. T-Mobile did announce this week. Yeah, that's why you have to laugh.
Yeah.
It plans to purchase U.S. Cellular's wireless operations for $4.4 billion, and a deal that includes the U.S. Cellular's wireless customers, stores, and select cellular spectrum. According to T-Mobile, the purchase will provide millions of U.S. Cellular customers access to the T-Mobile network, improving connectivity in underserved rural areas. And T-Mobile also plans to use the spectrum and wireless assets from U.S. Cellular to expand its home broadband offerings. So it's not going to probably close until mid of 2025. Of course, regulatory, with regulatory approvals. It seems like T-Mobile continues to grow. And Jeff, you just moved from you had Mint Mobile, and they now own that. So
yeah, yep. I've been a Mint Mobile user for I guess a couple years now.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, since it was already T-Mobile's network, the change for me
Why not?
is that someone else owns the company that I'm paying, and I've seen no differences.
Yeah, you're paying corporations to Deadpool.
Yeah, yeah.
Thoughts, Ben? You're a T-Mobile customer like I am.
I am uniquely qualified for this because I switched to T-Mobile from U.S. Cellular.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I was a long time U.S. Cellular. This is very, very good because T-Mobile's network is fantastic in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was getting 3/4 of a gig down.
Nice.
At my work. But once you get off the interstate / 4-lane highway, you're in 1943. U.S. Cellular in the areas that it serves. Well, number one, its network is almost completely complementary to T-Mobile's. It is strong where T-Mobile is weak, and it is weak where T-Mobile is strong.
Yeah.
They will, especially here in Iowa, Wisconsin, the U.S. cellular assets will allow T-Mobile to be pretty much everywhere. And quite frankly, even in places where you probably even shouldn't get a cell phone signal.
Yeah. How about you, Guy? You laughed about the rural areas comment. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, we were just down in rural North Carolina, and I'm on T-Mobile, and there are times like I'm using CarPlay along with either Maps or Google Waze, and it's like it's not telling me where I'm supposed to go. It doesn't know because I have no. It's going best guess as to where you are based on how fast you were going before and where we think you are now. It's like okay, great. So if T-Mobile can expand their network by going into the areas where what's the name of this company? U.S. Cellular are or it are is, then yeah, I'm all for it. And seeing that Mint is also part of it because that's what my Android phone is on Mint. I don't know. Maybe I can just switch everything over onto one phone and use an eSIM for Mint for work and T-Mobile for my regular stuff and still get coverage everywhere I go. So yeah, I like it.
There you go.
Still waiting for the day when I can just plug my phone into a monitor and have a regular kind of desktop experience. Still waiting for that day.
Yes, IDEX.
Yeah, I've used
good
that with
times.
Samsung, and it's okay,
We'll get there.
but Apple steadfastly refuses to do anything like that, and I really wish they would. Where I just your work device becomes your home computer, becomes your mobile computer, becomes everything, and you just plug your phone in and it works.
Yeah.
They're real computers. Let them be real computers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is
Which is a
honestly
totally different conversation. I'm sorry.
Oh
That's
yeah.
okay.
It's a powerful device that is definitely capable of running a full operating system and full apps.
Yep. So, two more stories before we wrap up here. Our favorite weather app, Carrot, is now gaining an updated design with a garden layout and more. Popular weather prediction app, Carrot Weather, this week it was upgraded to version 6.0, which introduces a refreshed design with changes to the user interface and feature set. The app now includes a garden, which is new default look of the app. The garden is designed to grow and change over time with little robots pruning trees and watering plants and delivering supplies throughout the day. The garden resets at the start of each month for a dynamic experience throughout the year. Come on, how do you not like this and have a great weather app to boot here? I mean, we can't recommend Carrot more, and Jeff and I both love it. What do you think of the design, Jeff?
I think it's a very welcome interface refresh, and it adds in several features that people have been asking for quite a while. So yeah, so you get the new design if that's what you want, but you can switch back to whatever you had before if you want. You can still set the level of snark, and
Yes, you can.
what more could you want in an app than something that can pull data from multiple sources, give you complete control over your interface, and talk smack to you
This is true.
All at the same time.
all at the same time?
Ben, Guy, do you use Carrot Weather?
I do not, but I'm actually downloading it right now as we
Right now.
speak.
I just heard you go da-ding. That's all right.
I know that's what that
Yeah.
was. That's what that was. I'm getting Carrot. Okay.
You know
Peer
what? You can try
pressure.
it out.
Damn you all. Peer pressure.
You don't
There's
have-
some
don't
of the
have to-
features
this
that
is
you
One
won't be
of
able to
us. One of
use.
us. One of us.
Yeah, you'll need to pay for a subscription to have access to all the features, but you know what? It's worth it.
Yeah, give it
I
a
don't
shot.
know. Ryan Hall, y'all, is a pretty good weather site.
Yes.
He's so good.
Ben,
He's
did
certainly a
you
lot
use-
more accurate than most of the other weather sites
I
that
can
I've
tell you
paid
why
attention to.
if you want, or we could save it for later since it's
Yeah,
topic.
we should save it for later.
Yes. Yeah.
Ben, you use Carrot Weather?
I have in the past. Not the best thing in a professional environment, but
Well,
for
just
my
dial
own.
the snark down.
Oh,
Yeah. You can dial it down now.
You can
Yeah,
dial it all the
uh,
way down to professional.
I use Mercury for that, but I have to say, as a tool for my own enjoyment / weather on the weekends. Bring it on, meat bags.
Yeah, there you go. Last story before we wrap up, and I do this. I put this one just for you here, Ben. Is the Halide developers have now launched a new Kino Pro video camera app for the iPhone. Uh, it's now a new video app that they've developed. It makes great video easy. Kino lets you just press record, create cinematic videos with color presets created by expert filmmakers. And yeah, you don't have to be an expert filmmaker to use this. And you said, Ben, you tried this out. I've not tried this out yet, but I thought this was a great thing to let everybody know about. What is your first impressions on it?
I haven't had a chance to use it yet.
Oh, okay.
Myself. I've watched a few
I thought you said that.
videos. I'm a avid user of its sister app, Halide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to the point where literally the first thing I did when I bought this was map the action button to Halide.
Okay.
But on the reputation of the company alone, it has replaced Blackmagic as my go-to video app. I
For
can't
editing
wait.
or shooting.
Shoot. It from what I can tell, it puts a lot of powerful features, but dumbs it down to, some starter level stuff, and then gives you tutorials in the app about how to use all the powerful stuff.
Yep. All right. Jeff or Guy, you have any other comments on that?
I haven't
Right.
used a lot of the pro level apps for shooting video, and I probably should because when I do shoot video, I'm using my iPhone. I have some dedicated devices around, but for the most part, it's like, why? You have to carry all the extra stuff and the batteries and lenses and everything else. And quite frankly, I'm going to get just as good, if not better, results from my phone.
Yeah. So check it out. We have a link in the show notes here. But before we go, I want to make sure we mention MacStock. MacStock Conference and Expo is coming July 12th, 13th, and 14th. And I think there's going to be a few people here that's on this panel. And there's a guy on the camera showing his MacStock hat. And Jeff is speaking. I'm speaking. And we have got Chuck Joyner. We've got Allison Sheridan. You have all kinds of other great speakers. I think you are going to be there. You told. I think you've.
I'm going to be there, but the man is holding me down, won't let me speak. But yeah, I'm still going to be there, and it's going to be so much fun.
Don't you know you?
Yeah,
I do know me.
You're our freaking Searle. You should be able to speak.
I
Fight the
speak all.
power. Fight
I
the
mean, if they'll
power.
let me speak, they'll let anyone speak.
Exactly.
I'll be on stage. I'm gonna let you finish.
So we still got to twist Ben's arm. Hopefully he's going to be making it out there soon. As we record this, it's 42 days away. Jeez.
Oh, I'm so
It's getting
excited.
there. We're all super excited.
Yeah,
And,
missed it last year, and I so missed it in
Yeah,
every way
it's
possible.
brand new. There's a brand new place venue. It's in Crystal Lake, Holiday Inn Conference Center in Crystal Lake, Illinois, just outside Chicago, not too far from Woodstock. And we've had it other places in the past, but this is going to be great because it's got everything.
And I think there's still some rooms available.
There's some rooms
at the Holiday Inn.
You get
that was one of the things about MacStock that was kind of a pain in the neck before, is that
Right.
you had to go from whatever hotel you were in, spread out throughout that area, Crystal Lake and Woodstock and McHenry County, and make your way out into the middle of nowhere, middle of cornfields, to get to the McHenry Community College. And don't get me wrong, that was a very nice venue, but it was not convenient. Now, if you're actually staying at the Holiday Inn, you roll out of bed, you get some breakfast there at the breakfast bar at the Holiday Inn, and you just roll right into MacStock. It's going to be so easy and so much fun. And quite frankly, anyone listening to the show, if you haven't already gotten your tickets, what's wrong with you?
Yes.
Stop it. Go get a ticket.
And
Right.
speaking
You
of
don't
the
have to
tickets,
be clairvoyant to know that everyone's going to have an awesome time. So come
They
join
are.
us.
yes.
And it's not just the event, it's the stuff after the show. It's the stuff during the show. It's the stuff before the show.
We've got, yep.
So much camaraderie, and that's like the biggest part of it right there. You're at a huge party filled with people who love the Mac and love iOS and love iPad OS, and just it's so much fun. I can't say. I'm going to shut up. So
2 packages available. They did add the new the new workshops, which is on Friday, the 12th, and Marty Gensius, we talked about, is going to be speaking with the workshops. Boy, in fact, Marty's going to be not only doing workshop, he's actually speaking on one of the other days too. So he's got a lot of work he's doing, which we just really appreciate because his knowledge is just amazing. Allison Sheridan, Mike Schmitz, to name a few, is going to be speaking at the workshop. So you've got 2 packages available. It's $399. That's for the full 3 days, and then you got the. If you don't want to go to workshops and you can't make it on Friday, that's okay. Come to get the weekend pass for Saturday and Sunday. That's $299. But it's because you're an In Touch with iOS viewer or listener, you can use our discount code, which is In Touch with iOS at the checkout, and you will get $30 off of your ticket.
That's what I did.
Oh, thank you, Guy. We appreciate that. And you can come see us and get a little extra dollars off and come see it. It's an absolute blast.
You can come and see whatever crazy concoction I have for podcasting this year.
Yeah, you'll get to witness Guy Searle and
Chuck, Guy, you laugh, but it's true.
It is true. It's so true.
Come see us.
It's sad and funny all at the same time.
Come see us. It's going to be at Mac. Just go to the website, macstockconferenceandexpo.com. That's where you go and find out about all the information about the site, about the show and the conference. And we want to see you. Come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon, which is at In Touch with iOS at techhangout.social. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We really appreciate it. You can become a Patreon of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. In Touch with iOS. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/intouchwithios. A shout out again to Webb Bixby and Cletus and everybody else that was out in the chat. We really appreciate you watching live with us tonight. And you can also watch the current past streams, which they are doing now. And we also leave the live streams on there to watch later, as well as you can listen to any episode on that channel, including YouTube podcasts. You can visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show using your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts with transcripts, and many others. But better yet, go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us is on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud. And Guy Searle, thanks as always for being here.
Oh, no problem. Fun as always.
Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me over on the X something, Mac Parrot and VertShark. You can find me on Instagram and Threads as VertShark. That's VertShark. I am Mac Parrot at Counter Social and Mastodon.social. All of these social networks. What is wrong with me? You can also write me an email by sending that to Guy at mymac.com. And of course, Gaz and I do the mymac.com podcast nearly every week, unless our families take us away to do stuff that sometimes we like and sometimes we don't.
And I had a blast filling in for Guy, for Gaz a couple weeks ago. So yeah, check his podcast out. And Ben Rathick, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, Dave, you can find me at Ben Rathig on the cacophony of social media. On Tuesdays, you can find me on Mac Voices Live with Chuck Joyner. And, of course, every Thursday, you can find me here on In Touch of iOS.
Thank you so much, Ben. And Jeff Gaiman, as always, a thrill and pleasure always having you here. where can people find you?
It's an absolute treat for me. And I have to say, I am genuinely excited to see everyone at Macstock.
Yes.
And if you're someone that likes to get hugs, let me know. I will give you a warm
Oh,
Macstock hug.
Every
Yeah.
so long, it becomes a
and
little,
he'll wear pants when he does it.
yeah,
Or
Maybe.
if he
yeah, or shorts.
boys got to make money, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. All right. So where to find me? Social
Oh, my
media.
mind.
All right. So when I'm not melting Guy's mind on social media, Jay Gamut, I'm active on Mastodon and Instagram and some on Threads. Then for podcasts, all right, here we go. Tuesdays, Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live. Thursdays, Dave Ginsburg's In Touch with iOS. Then on the British Tech Network, Thursdays on The Big Show, Fridays on The Mac Show. Then Brian Chaffin and I also do The Context Machine. And I have a new show for you.
Oh,
Oh,
let's hear it.
Patrice Brendamore and I have started a new show called Retro Rewatch. And
nice.
the premise of this show is apparently there are so many great TV shows, like right now Stargate SG-1, that I never saw, but Patrice did. So we're watching these shows, her rewatching, me watching for the first time, and then talking about the
Oh, fun.
episodes from the perspective of someone that's seen these a lot and someone that is just now being exposed to them. And we are having a lot of fun with it. We dropped in episode 0 yesterday, so people will know
Right.
about the show. And then we'll have episodes rolling out. I think our first real episode is next week, and we're going to have shows coming out every other week. So we're starting with Stargate SG-1, and we can talk about whatever shows we want. So at some point we'll move on to something else. But
That's
yeah,
right.
my impressions on watching the pilot episode of the TV series Stargate SG-1, and this will be a surprise, but I've got thoughts.
All right. Well, make sure we have that link in the show notes.
Yeah.
I'll
Take a
make
look
sure
at
we
this.
have the link in the show notes.
That's right. Well, and thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We enjoy doing this show, and we hope to have you come back next week. But until then, we'll talk again soon.
I totally
Well,
just dropped that one on you.
No, that's
You
all right.
did. I want to know when you're going to move on to like the old TV ads, like for cereal, for like Quisp and Quake, if you've ever heard of those.
Wisp.
I have a Booberry.
Oh, Blueberry.
Or
Hot
Kaboom, Kaboom cereal
How about
That one I haven't
it-
heard of.
with its scary clown and big marshmallows.
or the Cookie Crisp?
Cookie Crisp. God, my kids were like crazy about that stuff. Like kids were
I love
crazy
it. Oh,
about that
let me see if
stuff.
they still have that at Aldi.
Cookie Crisp?
What, Cookie Crisp? I still see that in the
Yeah.
grocery stores. Not so much Quisp and Quake. That was like late 60s, early 70s. But do you know who Jay Ward is?
think so.
He was the guy that did the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Then we
He
get Moose and
did-
Squirrel.
Moose and Squirrel. He did all of the animation. His company did all the animation for Quisp and Quake. And like so many cereals at the time, you had Captain Crunch and Jean Lafoot, who were like
Yeah.
they had
Quisp.
competing cereals kind of thing, as well as Boo Berry and Frankenberry and Count Chocula. And like, what is
Cookies.
that? Oh, cookies.
geez.
But
that
Quisp was like this alien that looked
I
like he
know.
had a little beanie on his head with a propeller,
It was a
and
Quaker-
Quake looked like
Quaker
a
product.
miner. Yeah, big surprise. Quisp and Quake were Quaker products.
Right.
Shocker.
Speaking of those companies,
Yeah.
I watched Unfrosted on Netflix,
Oh, yeah. I watched that.
and I'm pretty sure I was supposed to be chemically altered before starting the movie. Because
Was
what
that the
hell
one with
did I
Seinfeld, with
watch?
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yes.
Yeah.
About Pop
It's,
Tarts.
it's just a fantastic cast. And there's some really funny stuff in it. But what the hell did I watch?
I know it was like
Holy
it
crap!
was all over the place.
It was all over the place.
Yeah. But speaking of all over